Is peace even possible? Is global peace just a pipe dream, or will it ever be a reality? Stay tuned. Welcome to Inspire Me with Jay, a podcast discussing meditation, the near death experience, spiritually inspirational and transformative experiences. Welcome to Inspire Me with Jay. I'm your host, author, and teacher, Jay Spillers. We're talking about the possibility of global peace. And what got me really thinking about this is I was extremely disturbed about what happened on Saturday night when we bombed Iran. We were promised a peace president, and we basically got what we always get, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat. It's sort of like the old saying is like, it doesn't matter who you vote for, you get John McCain, and that's kind of what it feels like what happened. Um, we went to war. No, I'm start again. I'm just not happy with this. Let me try to memorize this for a second. Global peace situation, global peace situation, new paradigm, global peace situation, new paradigm, peace within, and what can you do? Global peace, new paradigm. No, global peace, Iran, new paradigm, peace within, and what can we do? Yeah, okay. I'm just trying to get it to where it doesn't look so awful. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Is global peace even possible? Or is it just a pipe dream? Are we ever seriously going to get global peace? Or is it always going to look like it's always been? Let's find out. Welcome to Inspire Me with Jay. I'm your host, author, and teacher, Jay Spillers. We're talking about, will we ever have peace in this world? Will we ever have global peace? And of course, a lot of you are familiar with this verse in Isaiah 2:4. He shall judge between the nations and shall decide disputes for many peoples. They shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. So in the Bible, there's a time that's promised where there'll be global peace. And this is consistent with the near death experience that there will come a time of global peace. So, how does it happen? Because I think a lot of people have been taught theology that just says, okay, well, God comes down and, like, uses his magic powers and this, makes the world all peaceful and rosy. And it's like, is that really how it's going to work? Or do we play a role in it? You know, um, you look at that verse, it says there's judgment of God, and God just will decide disputes. So God's definitely involved, but who are the ones that beat the swords into plowshares? Who are the ones that turn the weapons of war into instruments of peace? Sounds like it's us. So we need to be active in bringing about this idea of global peace, making the world a better place for all of us. And was there ever a time for war? I think that there was a time for war. You look at World War II and what went on there, and there was a time for war. But as Mel and Thomas Benedict has said, and I've said before, is the time for war has ended, and it ended quite a few years ago. And that anybody that's peddling war now is doing it for ulterior motives. Maybe it's for money, maybe it's for power or prestige, maybe it's pressure from outside forces. There's industries that are built on war, like military contractors. There's foreign governments that have interest in war. All kinds of reasons why war would happen, but it's not for good things and it doesn't need to happen. And I was thinking about this because I was so disturbed by what happened Saturday night when there was military strikes on Iran. And there's a good chance that this could lead to a larger scale war, even World War III. And if you think it's going to be, we're going to strike and everything's going to be fine and whatever, I I think you're only deceiving yourself. And in fact, there's already been a strike by Iran today in Qatar on our military bases. So, I don't think we should live under the illusion that, we're just going to be able to strike and then everything be fine because that's not reality. And it's like, okay, there's a war between Israel and Iran. Israel pulls us in, the big brother. But you know what? Iran has a couple big brothers of his own, China and Russia. And he's got a couple other brothers besides that, too, Turkey and Pakistan. So, don't think that this is just going to be the United States pushing a third world nation in the Middle East to their knees. It's like, I don't think it's going to be that simple. Um, because I just don't think it is. And like I said, the reason for war has ended. There's no reason for war. So, all of these things that you hear, about they were developing nuclear weapons. They're on the verge of developing a nuclear weapon. It's all spurious. If you actually investigate it yourself, you'll see that they've been pushing that narrative for over 30 years about Iran is on the verge. They're trying to get a nuclear weapon. We've got to be proactive here. They've been pushing it for 30 years. Do you realize that in 2003, the supreme leader, who's the religious leader of the country, put out a fatwa, which is essentially, in Islamic terms, is sort of an edict that you must follow, saying that Iran was not to develop or acquire nuclear weapons. So for them to even acquire nuclear weapons after 2003, when he put it out, would be a violation of their own religion. Do you even realize that? Nobody's talking about it, maybe a few people, but so it's like they'd be violating their own religion, their own religious leader to even develop nuclear weapons. And Tulsi Gabbard, who's head of the intelligence agency for us, said in March that as far as we could see, the intelligence agency, they weren't working on nuclear weapons. They've been very cooperative in terms of allowing for inspections, being forthright with us and with the United Nations and other bodies about what they're doing, what they want. There's nothing there. There's no nuclear weapons being built. There never was, at least after 2003 for sure. So we went to war on spurious grounds. And of course, the powers that be, we could go into that, round up the troops, get both parties backing a war, and both Democrat and Republican, doesn't matter. There's a few outliners in the Democratic Party, Bernie Sanders that's against. There's a few outliners in the Republican Party like Thomas Massey, Rand Paul. God bless them. but they're only outliners because the certain uh, foreign entities like APAC and certain industries like the military industrial complex, they have a lock on Congress. And, you can believe that or not. It's just the truth. They put in billions of dollars to them, and we see the result. It doesn't really matter what opinion polls say. Most people didn't want to go to war with Iran, but Congress just goes the other way because they're bought and paid for. I'm sorry to say that. I wish I could put rose-colored glasses on it and tell you it was something else, but it's not. And I think at this point, we just need to get a different paradigm shift, a paradigm of peace, because part of what's going to be needed for spiritual awakening, for a new era of peace, for a new earth, is going to require a fundamental shift in attitude on peace to where we're just not we're not going to participate in it anymore. We're not doing it. We're not participating. We're not going to be duped by it anymore. We're not going to be um signing on for another war. We've seen the weapons of mass destruction junk. This nuclear uh issue is just basically a rehashing of the weapons of mass destruction. And it's sort of like, it's one letter different. 25 years ago it was Iraq, now it's Iran. And it's like we went from WMD to nukes. So it's like it's all the same issue. It's all garbage. It's all propaganda. And I'm just going to tell you the truth, and you can research it for yourself. But we need to have a paradigm of peace. We need to say, we're not participating. We're going in a different direction. We're going to push forth peace. And, as far as I'm concerned, um, I'm done with both major parties. I can't see any time in the immediate future I'm going to be voting for them. I'm going to vote. I'll vote on ballot measures, and I'll just cast a vote for third party. And there's some good third parties, at least on this issue, that you can consider. Like the Libertarian Party is very good on war and peace. They're very non-interventionist, support peace, don't push war. And the Green Party on more of the left side is the same way. But we need to just say, we're not gonna support you. And it's like maybe we'll never have a libertarian president or a Green Party in the Senate, but it's like if enough people push back and say, I'm not going to vote for this, you know, it's like things might change. If you're losing 10, 15% of the vote to third party candidates, the both major parties are going to be looking at what are we going to do different? Because, we're leaving votes on the table. They may be spoiling elections for us, or maybe spoiling elections for them, but what are we going to do? So it's like I just don't think there's any room to participate, and we've got to we've got to pray for peace. We've got to meditate, because it's like when you meditate, you change the vibration of yourself first, those around you, and you start to raise the vibration of this planet. And we can just go in a different direction. It's likely that there'll be World War III, but then there can be millions of people that are already starting to create a new world around them and globally speaking at the same time, because it's sort of like both are sort of going on at once. There's war, there's chaos, there's trial and tribulations, and then there's people bringing in a new paradigm of peace and of love and of light. And I want to be in this one. I don't want to be in this one. So we need to pray, we need to meditate, we need to not participate, we need to go forward. Anytime you have opportunities to encourage peace, do so. We need to educate ourselves because, a lot of what we hear is exaggerations, distortions of what it's really like, because it's like, you know, we get such a negative picture of whatever country that's being demonized is. We don't really see what's there, that, did you know that Iran in their parliament has has non-Muslims, Jews and Christians. They have Jews and Christians in their military. They have 1 million Christians, it's believed right now, and there's a major revival going on. Many people around the world, and in Iran especially, are seeing dreams and visions of Jesus. So it's like there is something going on there. Did you know that the second largest amount of Jews lives in Iran, and they consider themselves to be Iranian Jews? And they've been there for 2,700 years. But you'd never get that if you were to just watch mainstream media or some of the junk you see on social media. Did you can watch videos that Iran is very westernized. They have a lot of Western um, clothing. They have lots of malls. They are very warm and open. It's like you can find chants where they're saying death to America. But a lot of that is just outrage because they've been so pushed around for years and decades by the West and by America. But most of the people there actually are very warm and inviting. They love Americans. They love people in other countries. They don't want war. So it's like we need to educate ourselves and others. If you have the ability to show a different side of whatever country they're trying to demonize, educate yourself about what's really going on. And, it isn't to say that Iran is perfect and all of that, because they have problems for sure. And they have unrest and they have challenges. And, you know, they could definitely have a better government, I'm sure. But, it's not as evil and doom and gloom as you've probably been led to believe, you know. And part of creating a peace paradigm, I think, too, is it starts from within, finding peace within yourself and helping others to find peace within themselves, raising their vibration, and then finding a more peaceful way to live within your family, your community, your nation, and then extending out globally. Because it's like, we have to have first peace within, and then it grows from there, sort of like when we do those meditations, it start here and just extend out, 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 out. That's kind of what we need to do. And do I have all the answers about how to create global peace? I don't, but we just need to start where we can, and start changing the paradigm right now. Don't accept war anymore. That's past. It's garbage if anyone's trying to push it. It's just nonsense. So, why don't we just do a little meditation right now? Start to meditate on peace right now. And let's just close our eyes. Just taking a few deep breaths, breathe in deeply through your nose. Hold and exhale through your mouth. Breathe in deeply. Exhale through your mouth. You can another deep breath. And exhale. Breathe in deeply. And exhale. Just imagine yourself along a beach. You're looking out over the water. There's waves crashing in. As far as the eye can see, you see water going out. You see beautiful blue sky. See a few white puffy clouds. You can feel a little bit of a breeze on you. Just imagine yourself sitting on the beach. You might run your fingers through the sand in your toes. What does that feel like? Might see some seagulls flying by. Hear their sound. When you're on the beach, it's a very peaceful place. You feel a peace within your soul, within your mind and body. You feel the warmth of the sun. Makes you feel more tranquil and serene. Just take a moment to allow yourself to feel at peace, to feel serene and relaxed within yourself. Now look in the distance. You can see children playing close to the water, building sand castles, playing, laughing, having a wonderful time. They're totally at peace. There's no fear. There's no dissension. Only peace. What if the world could be like those children right now? Enjoying a warm, sunny day, enjoying the beauty that they're in, laughing, playing, building things of beauty just for fun, building things of beauty that bless people, big or small, creating a different world, one person at a time, the heart of a child, to live, to play, to enjoy life. You have a right to live, to play, and enjoy life. And every other person on this planet does. Create a world that's more tranquil, more peaceful, that lives in harmony with each other and with nature itself. Be a blessing to the world. Make someone laugh. Make someone feel relaxed. Make someone feel good. Bring joy into someone's life today. We all want peace because peace is innately who we are. It's like love. It's like joy. It's the essence of who we truly are. All these other things, war, turmoil, strife, hatred, fear, these are external things that come upon us. These are artificial. We need to get back to the true essence of who we are. We're the children playing with the sandcastles and with each other. We need a new world. We need a new vision. We need a new reality. Take a moment to see where you can make a difference, creating a better world for yourself and for others. What can you say? What can you do? Even if it's a tiny thing, what can you do right now and in the next few days to make the world just a little bit better, a little bit more peaceful? I will start to come back to the room. Just taking one final deep breath. Breathe in through your nose. Hold. And exhale through your mouth. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes.